how do you build a quote unquote healthy or disease resistant gut microbiome? Because there's a lot of controversy about this. If you go on Instagram, you go on YouTube and you look, you'll find conflicting information. Some people are telling you to eat a ketogenic diet because it's the most powerful thing. Some people are literally telling you to eat eggs. Other people say, no, milk does it. Some people say fiber is toxic. Other people say, no, the diversity of fiber that you consume is actually the most predominant indicator of your gut microbiome health. So how does somebody know what to believe and what is the actual truth?
Man, I mean, we have learned so much about the gut microbiome in even in the 20 years since I graduated med school, okay? But within mainstream research and mainstream science now, we have, the research is very, very clear. When you want to build a healthy gut microbiome, well, first of all, when we're talking about an individual thing that helps you to build your gut microbiome, and I know that I'm sure that you've also had Robin and you've had Will talking on the Revolution, and I'm sure they would have talked about the importance of the diversity of plants in your diet. That is like the number one thing. We know that the American Gut Project collected data on gut microbial health in 11,000 volunteers across the US, Australia, the UK, and other high-income countries between about 2015 and 2019. They looked at 11,000 different gut microbiomes, and they had huge questionnaires and data on the individuals who took part. The number one predictor of a healthy and beneficial gut microbiome is the diversity of plants in your diet. Now, within that study, they found that individuals who consumed more than 30 different plants per week had gut microbiome superpowers because they unlocked certain bacteria within their gut microbiome, certain fiber-loving bacteria within their gut microbiome that other people didn't possess, okay? More than 30 different plants per week. But what people don't often point out about that data set, the American Gut Project, is that among those 11,000 volunteers, fewer than 1 in 250 were making the grade. So fewer than 1 in 250 volunteers were making that magic number of 30 different plants per week. Why is that? Well, it's a standard, standard American, standard Western diet, a plant-deficient approach to food. We only consume a tiny amount of the plant diversity that's available to us on this planet. There's 250,000 different edible plants on Earth. Yet our food system, about 50% of all calories consumed from plants, come from just 3 different plants: corn, rice, and wheat. And usually in a very, very highly processed form, a fiber deficient form, which means that our gut microbes never get to experience or ferment or digest, 99.99999% of the plant fibers that are available on Earth for humans to eat, which is a shame because we know, the research is very clear that if you want to build a healthy gut microbiome, you need to feed it that diversity of plants. It's what we call the saccharolytic microbiome, to borrow Will's phrase, the fiber-fueled microbiome. There was a recent review of this topic published last year, which was very clear that a fiber-fueled or saccharolytic gut microbiome produces postbiotic chemicals which are largely beneficial to human health. On the flip side, the meat-fueled microbiome, the proteolytic microbiome, produces products that are almost universally detrimental for human health. So you asked me a minute ago, how do we build a healthy gut microbiome? Okay, I'm going to give you 2 completely different scenarios. Here's scenario number 1. You go out today, you have a standard American meal. You have red meat in a white bun, and then you have an ice cream. Okay, you're going to have a burger and an ice cream. Okay, traditional American diet. So you eat that, it goes into your incredible digestive system. You chew it, you swallow it, you break it down, it goes into your small intestine. Now, the human digestive system is incredibly adaptable. It will get to work on that highly processed meat predominant meal. It will do its thing. It will extract the amino acids, the carbohydrates, the oils, the calories. It will get what it needs to keep you alive from that meal. But there's a certain, what will happen at the end of your small bowel is the stuff that it can't digest and the stuff that your gut has had to produce to digest all of that fat, the bile, will arrive at your colon. We call that the residue of digestion. This now becomes the food for your gut microbiome. It will feed certain types of bacteria and allow them to thrive and survive. And when you've had that standard American meal, the red meat, white processed stuff, animal fat, dairy fat, etc., that residue is made up of animal protein and bile acids and hardly any fiber and hardly any polyphenols. Those residues of that standard Western diet feed certain bacteria that start to break it down and thrive. And those bacteria produce chemicals which we call postbiotic substances. And the postbiotic substances that are produced by that meal are almost universally harmful. You get secondary bile acids, which increase risk of colon cancer. You get ammonia and aromatics and excess hydrogen sulfide gas. You get very poor production of beneficial short-chain fatty acids. And on a measurable level, those substances create pro-inflammatory, pro-carcinogenic effects in your gut and beyond your gut, increasing the risk of inflammation, DNA damage, and genotoxicity. In short, guys, you're building a gut microbiome that is conducive to chronic inflammation and disease. Okay? Now, the very next day, you've just been to this amazing summit. You've seen the light, okay? You're having lentils and brown rice. You're going to have some mango. You're going to have some leafy greens, whole grains, vegetables, fruits, okay? You decide, I'm going to have a whole food plant-based lunch today. Forget about the burger thing I did yesterday, okay? On that day, that food, your body gets to work. Your incredibly adaptable digestive system gets to work. It extracts the amino acids and the carbohydrates and the healthy fats. Of course, now it's getting all the benefit of the antioxidants and the vitamin A and C and E and fiber and folate and all those other things that we get when we eat a healthy diet. But it still has to deliver a residue to your large bowel. But this residue that is now going to be the food for your gut microbiome is completely different. There's hardly any bile in there because you haven't needed to produce all the bile to emulsify all the fats so that you can digest all the fats. So you got hardly any bile. You don't have any residual animal protein in there. Okay. People worry that a plant-based diet is lower in protein. In this scenario, this is a good thing because you don't get a lot of protein residue arriving to feed your gut microbiome. You get all the polyphenols that you're getting from the berries and dark leafies, and you've got a variety of plant fiber. So this completely different residue now becomes the food that your gut microbiome is enjoying today. You are feeding a different family of microbes which thrive in this high fiber plant-fueled environment. And they produce different postbiotic substances. They produce vitamins and short-chain fatty acids. They don't produce secondary bile acids, which are carcinogenic. They don't produce so much hydrogen sulfide gas, which is pro-inflammatory. They don't produce the substances that lead to the increased production of trimethylamine, which is a pro-inflammatory molecule. So you have now got a gut microbiome that promotes anti-inflammatory and anti-carcinogenic effects. You've got a gut microbiome that promotes healthy metabolism and homeostasis. You have now built a gut microbiome that in your gut and beyond is no longer conducive to disease, inflammation, carcinogenesis, and poor health. And within the gut microbiome research, we are seeing this time and time again. A plant-fueled gut microbiome, a fiber-fueled, and again, I'm borrowing Will's phrase, is by any measure a healthier gut microbiome.